Hi. Ooh, this is a bad angle. I don't like this light on this angle, but anyway, it's perfect for this video. I want you guys to be able to see this time. So this is a finished lock from bottom to top. And I say they finish when they can stand. When they can stand up, see, it's still nice and soft. But when they can stand up and you can see from top to bottom, that's a finished lock. If you pick up a lock and it's crooked, it means it's not finished. It's not pulled together enough. So that's why I consider this a finished lock, because it's straight. There's no wavy, no lumpy bumpies, no soft spots, no soft areas. You know, sometimes you can run your hand down a lock and you can feel like a little weak area. When it's completely can stand by itself and it don't have any weak areas, then I consider it a finished lock. And then I'll move on, which I made a bunch of them. I'll show you guys. I'll take a picture and show you guys. But I want to talk about different locks because I see a lot of people getting their locks done. I know people love that twist method, the palm rolling thing. Like I tell everybody, I'm not a fan of that because I don't like how the locks do. They don't last. You have to get them done almost every week, every 2 weeks, unless you do like a 2-strand twist out on them or pin them up, or you see everybody get them braided down. Like, what's the point of getting your hair done if you can't enjoy it? So I don't see no point in that. I don't like that. So I'm an interlocker, crocheter, latch hooker, whatever you want to call it. That's what I like for locks, because they last long and you can change your look every day. You can wear different styles or whatever you want to. You're not stuck in wearing that one style because you worried that your hair won't hold up. So that's the only reason why I really don't like those. No, it ain't. I got another reason. The other reason why I don't like those is because I don't think locks are supposed to be shiny and straight. If you wanted straight locks, then you probably don't want locks, because dreadlocks aren't straight. So people strive to get that straight, silky, shiny root when have a kinky lock. I just don't understand that. That don't make sense. I don't like the look. I like mine to look like they supposed to be together. I want my roots to look like my ends so that, you know, it's consistent. It looks pretty or whatever. So anyway, that's just my opinion. That's not everybody's thought on that, but that's my thought. So I want to talk about different locks. So I know I see people come in and they get their locks started, and when they come back, they have these fluffy locks like this because they're not tight. They're not, the center isn't tight, and they kind of wave up and they get lumpy. And then I see people do like this and move on, or they think because they palm rolled it, it's finished. I just want to show you guys, like, when these locks are like this isn't wet. I'm gonna wet some and show you, but even though this is like this, when you get in here close, you can see where these weak areas are. So they hold on to each other, but look how weak. Look how loose these are. That's not a complete lock. If I can see through that lock and put my finger up to a lock like that, that's not complete. And so what if you palm roll it, it's not a finished lock. It's not connected. It might be staying together, but it's not a strong lock. So I wanted to show you guys how to make these locks strong. Like when they have weak areas like this, stop bypassing them, because I see a lot of people doing the roots, but nobody's maintaining the strands. These locks are important to be maintained. They have to be maintained. You can't get dreadlocks and think that's the end. That's the end. Like there's nothing else to do with these, but wait and let them do their own thing. That's not true. You have to maintain your locks. So you have to go in here and you have to get rid of all this loose hair. You know, you have to put that stuff inside the lock. You have to make these locks strong. You can't just leave them loose like that. And even when you're doing wicks. So I have a wick here that I started, and I see a lot of people, this is their finished wick. Like if your wick still looks like you can still see other braids in it, you can still see where the hair isn't uniform, then your wick isn't finished. Your wick is this unfinished wick that you just put on somebody's head and let them go outside with this wick like this. I don't know why it looked like stuff is in there. Maybe, oh, because it's got colored strands. But with the naked eye, I can't see that. I only can see that in the camera, maybe because of the ring light. But anyway, that's funny. I can't see that. But anyway, this is an unfinished wig, so you can't put this on somebody's head. I just don't feel like you giving customers quality work if you're giving them unfinished product. So if you're not going back through here and tightening these wigs up all the way through the inside. So I know a lot of people like to do this double hook thing and the triple hook thing. That's fine to get these wigs started. But if you really want to have a good solid wig, these work to an extent, but I'm telling you, if you go into these wigs with the 1.00 mm needle and go into here, like I'm gonna show you, this tightens these down so well, and you still can keep your shape and your form. You just don't want to pull too much in the same area, but you want to make sure you're uniform in the locks all the way down the same way. You don't want to just have those locks not uniform. So like, even though I've already pulled and started some of this, like pulling in here, I can feel this lock tightening, 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 tightening. And it's gonna look good when I get finished, because it'll be a finished lock and it'll be firm. But that's why we go back in and wet them down. We put oil on them and all that stuff. That'll help loosen them up. But you don't want the lock to be loose. You want the lock to be strong. And so like, there's some curly parts on this lock. Can you guys see these little curly parts? Like, I don't leave that stuff. I go in with my needle and I turn my needle in and I grab that hair and pull that hair inside the lock. See there? Put it in the lock, because it don't look good outside the lock. So you want, like I said, you want to go around these locks and make sure all those little hairs that's sticking out is in the lock, because that's what's going to make the wig look nice. You know, so you want to go in and do that with the wigs. And I'm going to finish some of these up. I just don't want the video to be a trillion billion hours long. So I'm going to show you guys what they look like now. And then I'll take a picture after I finish them and put them at the end of the video. So you guys can pause it and stare at them and look at them and see how well they're put together. And you'll get to see how I do it. So like I tell everybody, I like my needle down facing away from me, not towards me. So I always put it facing away from me. So when I pull, I can feel where I'm pulling hair from. And I know where I want it to go. See there? I can feel where I'm pulling this hair. So you guys are seeing me pull it toward you and not away from you. So let me show you what happens when I do that. See how that is right there? I'm making that wig, it's going to be like that all the way down. And I'm pulling all these little hairs inside, and it's uniforming it perfectly. So let's say you want a bigger wig. Like, this ain't big enough, okay? Well, I'm going to show you. You just take some more hair. And a lot of places want you to buy 18 and 12 and 16 inches of hair. You don't need all that much hair for this. Just get you some 6-inch hair, and you can make a 22-inch lock from 6 inches of hair. So you just have to know how to build that hair up. So this is how this hair comes, a mess, all curly. And so I want to add this hair to this wig, right? So first thing I got to do is get rid of these curls. I got to break these curls up, because they're not going to help. They're just going to be in the way, and then it's going to look like how people have unfinished locks. So you want to break that hair up. Separate all those little curls is in there. I hope this light is working really good for you guys, because I hated my last video not being able to be visible. So again, you could take the number 2 and come back in, and if you want it thicker, you could add add around here to make it thicker. Or if you wanted to make it longer, you will build up the top like this and move upwards. Build up, build up, build up. And you will move upwards and make a longer, thicker lock. Or if you just want a short, fat lock, you can just wrap this hair around here like this. As you can see, I put that hair all around there. See there? And then I always start in the center, because that's where you always have to have a foundation. Some people like to start on the bottom. Some people like to start at the top. I like to start in the middle, because I feel like the middle is the foundation that holds the support of everything. So even when it's heavy or whatever, the root is a big part of that too. But when you putting these in, I just feel like the foundation starts better from the center. Like, you can see where you want it to be, what you want it to be like, what you want it to look, how strong, how thick, all that. And then you can work your way up and work your way down, and it's perfect. So So that's why I just feel like the middle is a good place to start as a have your foundation start, and then work your way up and work your way down. And that'll help you know like what structure, how you want it, how big you want it, how small you want it. So yeah. So when I'm doing these, I don't really mess with that. I usually do it with the little MM, because I go through here and I pull this hair through here. Remember I told you guys, you don't, some people say don't fuzz. I fuzz because I want to use that fuzz later to finish off. So as you can see, doing it that way, I've already got most of this hair inside of there. But using that number 2, them tube legs, they take forever. I don't like that. I be trying to get done. All right. So let me show y'all how this looking. Give me a few more pull throughs. I'm gonna show you guys what I do. All right. Oh, I got a piece of lint. Let me get that. I don't like that. Oh, that's my biggest peeve is lint. Lord Jesus, that's my biggest peeve. So as you can see, one side is not fuzzy and the other side is. So what I do is I come in, I take these fuzzes and wrap them like that. See there? And then I pull these fuzzes back through. And this time I don't pull these fuzzes all the way out. I just put them into the middle of this, like this. Remember I was telling you about control. Try not to get wild and crazy, because I'm telling you, you put this thing in your thumb, you're not going to be a happy camper at all. It hurts when that gets in your thumb. All right, now we can go in with the double. And the double for wigs is really good because you, like I said, that 1.00 will make it skinny. You don't want it skinny. You just want to take, you want to control the frizz with that. See there? And then you just work your way down. And don't forget to rotate when you start to feel it. This, these big wigs can't be flat. You don't want them to get flat because that is not a cute look. But you want to just keep moving and keep rotating and keep rolling, rotating and spinning until it's all down. And then all this down here, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to pull it around. And then you're going to work it in. And then, like I said, I always go in with my little needle and make sure everything's compact and tight. This ring light, because it's down and it's showing up, it's giving me shadows. It looks so bad. But anyway, I needed to make the video because everybody keep asking me different questions about locks and stuff. So I just want to start getting my videos out there so I can answer the questions that people have. But as you can see, that's already forming. I just got that little piece there I need to put inside the lock. And then I go back through, like I said, I go back through here with that little needle and I really get it as a solid lock all the way down, nice and firm and complete. So that's one demonstration I wanted to do because I have a lot to cover and I just want to put them all in here, and then that way people can ask their questions. So that's my big lock. And then you have, I want to cover these ones. So some people get those 2-strand twists, and when they come back, they have all these like fuzzies, and you can't tell if they have twists or braids. So you can do interlocking. You can take the latch hook and latch hook in between those twists and pull them in and start uniforming the twist, making it look a little bit together. Let me show you. Pull this in here. Pull it through the lock. And it'll bring some of that, see how it brings some of that fuzz together. And then you just pick another location, a little bit from each side, and then take the lock through there. Pull the lock through there. And then you're just gonna do that and see how it'll get rid of all that extra hair and fuzz. So you could do that with the thing. A lot of people don't know that you can do that with the latch hook. And then you can go all the way up and down this lock and lock in all that fuzzy hair. Or you could take the 1.00 and just go through here and pull those hairs inside of here. So you can pull those hairs Remember I told you I like my needle facing away from me? See how you can see that needle? It come out and pull those hairs in. See the hairs? And then pull them in. Rotate. Go in. Pull them out. Little hairs. Rotate. Go in. Pull them out. And you're just going to do that all the way down the lock until your lock is starting to form the way you want it. So remember, she started out with the fuzzy lock, but you can see I've only been moving it a little bit. And look how it's already taming in those hairs. So I want to cover weak areas, because that's the biggest part of this when you got two-strand twists, is that they start to open up when they swell. So you get these middles. See that middle of that is kind of weak. Let me see if I can show you. The middle of this is weak right here. See that hole? That's weak. I can go in and pull this hair, pull it through here and close the hole. Or I can come in with some hair, and that's a weak area right here in the middle. I can take this hair, wrap it around the middle. And a lot of people do like this. That is not finished. That hair ain't gonna stay on there. As soon as it get wet, it's gonna come off. You wanna take this and go in there and pull those little hairs in there and make it a solid lock. That is the best way to do this, and that way you don't have to worry about that lock getting weak again and falling off or breaking off or anything like that. It's locks. Locks get weak. I don't care how old, how new, how good you are. It don't matter. Locks are locks. When they get wet, they get weak. When they get stressed, they get weak. When you're not eating right, they get weak. When you put stuff in your hair that you shouldn't, they get weak. You just have to always be mindful that your lock is still hair, even though it's all pulled together to make a strong force. It's still hair. It still can be broken down. It don't have to be just because it's a lock don't mean it's invincible from all that stuff. You still have to maintenance your locks, and a lot of people aren't maintaining locks. So I see people getting their roots retwisted and walking out with their ends looking like this. It burns my britches. I can't understand why. Maybe people like the look. I don't know. I have a client that does like the fuzzy, fluffy type look. I just don't. I just feel like it's not uniform. But it's up to each person, however they like their locks. It is a-okay. You just have to give them what they want. So as you can see, this lock is coming together. That weak area is gone. And now all I'm doing is just closing these holes up between the twists that has, they've been washed and so they fluffed out. So now I'm just going through and closing those holes up instead of leaving that lock looking like a forgotten friend. Just go back in there and seal the deal on those locks, because the more you don't have to have. I think people think that if they leave it like that fuzzy and that over time it'll turn over, which it will. It's just going to look terrible messy for a whole year before it turn over. All we have to do is just go in there. It's an added service. Just charge for it if you want to, or give it, whichever way. Those locks represent you as a loctician. So if you want them to look, won't draw people to you, you want to make sure your work is good quality work. And so that's why I feel like every lock that I touch or put in, number one, I support my work. And number two, I want to make sure that it's always being put in the best position to be strong. So even when you come back and get your roots done, I always look through the locks and make sure there's no weak areas. Make sure that, some people shampoo in between sometimes. So you want to make sure they don't have any weak areas. You want to make sure they ain't pulling ponytails in their hair 24/7, stressing out a lock. If you see it, fix it. My biggest peeve about locticians is that they will lock someone's hair and see dragons. Have a whole dragon hanging off the side, and will lock that person, twist the root up and leave this hanging, or either try to wrap this around like that fix the problem. That is one of my biggest peeves. I don't know why people avoid the dragons. Fix them. All you gotta do is take your needle and combine them together and it'd be a single lock. You don't have to have all those different legs hanging off. I think after a while, when you have so many, it really makes the hair look raggedy as opposed to looking clean and neat and together and uniform. It just doesn't look uniform. It just look junky. It looks very junky, like there's some extra stuff in there that shouldn't be. I think that's kind of a good way to explain it. But I don't know why they don't fix the dragons. If they accidentally were combined, you just fix them. You put them together or either separate them. Take your scissors and separate those hairs and make them 2 separate locks, or go in with your 1.00 and combine the locks and make them look like one unison, one lock, not 6 legs hanging off of one branch. Like, these are not trees, they're locks, and they should look good all the time. So that's just my thing. I feel like whenever I see something like that in my client's hair or a new client's hair, I address it right away. Or do you like these locks? Do you like the way these hanging off of here? Do you like these extra legs? Do you want me to get rid of these legs? I can cut them off, or I can attach them and put them together and make one strong lock, whichever one you like. So as you can see, that's coming together pretty good. The weak areas are gone. It's not stretchable anymore. You can't pull this and stretch the hair out and you don't see any holes. You know, the camera and the light ain't gonna let you lie about that, because it will show you a hole, honey. So there's no hole. So and if I was doing these to put on somebody, I would have this a whole lot more neater. I wouldn't leave all these hairs sticking out, but I'm just doing this for video purposes so you can understand that it can be done and it's a possible thing. And so I see these too. When people come in, they get their locks retwisted, and then they have like 6 different looks to their locks. So the top is nice twist and shiny in the root. Then this part is done started button. So you got this butted part, and then you got this part right here where this was the part that was at the root that was done, and they decided to leave the curly hair. So it looked like they got 6 different locks in one lock. Which, if that's what they like, that's what they like. But they don't have to stay that way. You can leave these curly tips on the bottom. I know a lot of people like that, enjoy that. So you can leave these curly tips on the bottom, but this don't have to be 6 different looks in from the end, from this tip to the root. You could combine this all the way up and make it look just like this, all the way up, and have a nice root, and it'll be clean. All you have to do is go in there with your needle and clean it up. Pull that hair in there, interlock it all the way up. And a lot of people don't like doing that, but they so busy wanting to get you. I feel like if you charging people $200, $300, and $400 to do their locks, you need to be giving them quality work, and it should look good. It should not be a problem. Even if it take you an extra hour to do them, you charging them $300, you need to take an extra hour and get them looking right. So you could take that needle and go all the way up, and you can see how that's forming and looking good already. I ain't even done pulled too many hairs in there yet, and it's already looking good. It ain't fuzzy. So even if you don't want to get all the fuzz pulled in, and you do like a little texture, you can still have a nice little texture. You just don't have to, it don't have to look like you got 6 different locks, 6 different textures coming off of one lock. That, I don't think that's, I don't know. I just can't. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I feel like locks should look beautiful. They shouldn't look junky or look like they're dirty, or locks aren't dirty. Locks aren't junky. Locks are beautiful, and you have to keep up with them and make them look good. You have to keep up with the maintenance. You have to maintenance that lock from the root to the tip. You can't just keep maintenance in the root and thinking that's it. You have to do the entire lock. Look at that. See how nice that's starting to look already? And it ain't fuzz monster. It ain't looking crazy. And then you can enjoy the curly on the bottom, because now you can actually see and enjoy it. Where before you have 3 different things happening on this lock and it's competing. You don't know where to look. Is this the lock? Is this your lock? Or is this your lock? You don't know. So I just feel like they need to be pulled together, and it needs to be seamless and beautiful from the top to the bottom. And that's what I do. And then if I was going to attach to somebody's hair, I would do the same thing. I'll leave that hair out at the top. This is for attaching. But then you just look at the lock. It looks great. It's together. It's uniform. So that's important to me. That's why I talk about this stuff, because people are putting in these locks and just leaving the bottoms like they're supposed to take care of themselves. You're the loctician. You have to take care of the lock. Your customers aren't sure. You have to tell them what it is that they need to be doing. Prepare them. If it's going to be an upcharging service, then when they come sit down, you want to start talking about that right away. It's time for you to start looking at shaping your lock. I see some weak areas, and show them where their areas are weak at, so they know and understand what you're talking about. Because they're not locticians. They just know they wearing the style. They love it. They don't know about all this stuff. That's our job. So we need to start educating them and showing them what it is that's going on and making sure they understand, so you can prepare them for that upcharge that's coming in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks when they come back. Because you see this area here that it's going to break if you don't get that attached and keep it maintenance. And then you could, if it's that bad, you can just say, I'm going to fix this one today, but we need to do your whole head. So they can be prepared and ready to come back and pay you whatever you're asking for, versus springing it on them at the last minute and they weren't prepared for that. They're going to start looking at you side-eye like, you trying to get over on me or what? So you just want to make sure you're preparing your customers for whatever what the next journey is. So I tell people all the time, when I first put their locks in, no shampooing, no conditioning. It's just sea breeze and oil for your first 4 weeks, and not heavy oil. You only need the oil when I do it, you're oiled. And then if you start to feel dry, you can oil and water daily or every other day or every 2 days, whatever your scalp needs. You don't have to be oiled every day. So those are the first 4 weeks that you're going to do that. Oil and water spray in the morning or at night, whatever. Bonnet at night. And no tugging and pulling unless you're in a style. So a lot of people get new locks and think that that's it, that you should be able to swing from a tree on them. No, you can't. Your hair has to marry with that new lock. Your hair is not locked. The lock is locked, but your hair isn't. So your hair has to turn over, and your hair has to go through all the phases that you're trying to run from. So it has to go through the budding phase. It has to go through the swelling phase. It has to go through the weakening stage. So you have to still go through the steps. You just get to do it with a long lock. You just didn't have to start with the little baby twist and work your way through for the next year. So even though you cheated and jumped ahead, there's still work that needs to be done on the locks. That's why it's called loc maintenance, because the locks have to mature. They're going to go through those steps. There's no way around those steps. You can't just eliminate the process, because when you come back to get your roots retwist, that new growth needs to be locked down. It needs to be interlocked. It needs to be maintained, and it needs to be combined to make sure that the lock and your hair is still seamless. And then the other thing that I wanted to cover, and then, like I said, if you guys have questions, comment so I can break them down for you. But the other thing I want to comment on is that when people go back to get their locks retightened or whatever, I'm seeing people cut off locks. I don't understand or don't know why. Why are they cutting off the lock? So that is a big thing. If somebody can comment that to me and tell me why, I would appreciate that, because I feel like if the lock is on there and it's strong, then you keep it. You just add to it. So a lot of people say, I think the problem is that when your new growth grows out, that hair isn't as fluffy as your lock. So I think people don't know what to do when that root is skinny and the lock is thicker. Well, you do the same thing when you install that hair on that first day. On that first day when you put that lock in, you pulled it down, you braided it, and you wrapped that hair around, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to treat that new hair the same way you did when you put that first lock on initially. So you're just going to take another piece of hair, wrap around that braid to thicken it up, and then you're going to just interlock it and make it a full from the root down to the thing. You see how the camera keeps showing those little things? I don't know what those are, but I don't see them with the naked eye, but I can see them in the camera. And so you just pull that hair around here, and you just take that little needle and pull it in there, and then it's not a skinny root anymore. It'll be nice and thick to match the rest of the lock. You don't have to cut the lock off, because then you're cutting that lock off. So they already paid you what you charge $200 to $500 to install them. So they wear them for 3 months, and then you cut them off and charge them another $300 to $500 to put in a whole new set. It don't make sense. Just charge them whatever the service fee you want to charge for, you know, attaching new hair and making that lock complete. Because this lock is still a good lock. I don't understand why people are cutting them off. It blows my mind. I feel like it's a waste of good, you know, number one, good quality work. And number two, a perfectly good lock. And then number three, you just have to be creative. If you're not certain that you can get that little piece of hair on there, crochet it in the root. Take this little thing, this little tool here, get you a little piece of hair, crochet it in underneath the lock, pull this hair through, and then wrap that hair around, and then take your little needle and put it together. And then you don't have to worry about it coming out. If that's the problem, I'm not sure, but I think that's what the problem is. So if you guys want to see any of those steps that I've showed you today in more detail, comment down below, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment and ask your questions. I can't fix something if you don't ask them. I know a lot of people keep getting keep on my Facebook, and they'll send me a message or something like, can you fix this kind of lock? Do you know how to do this kind of lock? Yeah, I can do locks. I do all locks. There's no locks I don't do. So if you have any questions, comment down below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, join the family. You guys keep watching. I'm going to keep posting. Peace.